Welcome to the channel if it's your first time here, and welcome back if it's not. Now in today's video, which is sponsored by AliExpress, we're going to be looking at the most expensive retro console that is for sale on AliExpress. And this box might give a little bit away here, if you know what this means, maybe. But if you don't, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to explain. So yeah, if you want to pick up AliExpress's most expensive home console, or anything else for that matter, if you use the coupon codes on the screen now, you can save yourself a bit of money. Now the coupon codes do have an expiry date, which is shown at the bottom. If the ones on the screen have expired, then look in the video description and I'll make sure there are some up-to-date ones. Now back when I was growing up, there was a console that was just like the absolute peak of consoles. And I don't know anyone who owned one at all because they were just like really expensive. I don't think they even had an official release in this country. And yeah, most of the time, if you wanted one, you had to get one imported from Japan. And that is the Neo Geo. Now you might have heard the name Neo Geo because there were lots of arcade games that were based on the Neo Geo system. And there were two Neo Geo systems essentially. There was the AES, which is the Arcade Entertainment System, and that was the home console. And then there was the MVS, which was the multi-video system, and that was the arcade version. Now the hardware was sort of pretty much identical. Like a lot of consoles of the era, they ran on cartridges, so you could get these game cartridges that were quite expensive and have arcade quality gaming at home. And it wasn't sort of like just pretend, oh yeah, arcade quality. It was actual proper arcade games in the home, and that is why it was so expensive. So yeah, the AES was the home version, the MVS was the arcade version. And Neo Geo games were huge, especially over in Japan. And the arcades were just lined with Neo Geo cabinets. Because what was really good, because the games were on cartridge, you could essentially just take out the cartridge, put in a new cartridge, update the marquee and any of the artwork, and you'd have a brand new arcade machine effectively. Because it was called the MVS, the multi-video system, there were cabinets where you could actually put in several cartridges at once, and it was like a multi-game machine, so you could pick what game you wanted to play. It's really, really cool hardware, and that's what this console is. This console is actually based on the arcade system, and it allows you to play those Neo Geo arcade cartridges at home. Now this cost me around about £300, which is a lot of money, but essentially AliExpress have sponsored this video, so it's their money. And I was going to say it's their money that I'm wasting, but I have wanted one of these since I was a child. And so yeah, in this video today, we're going to unbox it, we're going to set it up, we're going to have a little play with it, and I think maybe I'm going to disassemble it as well so we can have a little look inside, because the insides of these are absolutely fascinating. Well, I think they're fascinating anyway. Now, even though the games ran on the same hardware ultimately, there were differences between the arcade versions and the home versions. And I think the cartridges were sort of a slightly different form factor because Neo Geo, or SNK, who own Neo Geo, didn't want people buying the cheaper home console cartridges and putting them in the arcade machines. So they sort of made it so it wasn't physically possible to do it. But the internals were actually the same. And inside the MVS hardware, or the AES console hardware, it actually told the cartridge where it was. It would say, oh, you're in a home console now, so you don't need to worry about inserting coins or anything like that. And if it was in an MVS arcade system, it would sort of say, hello mate, you're in the arcades now, so you need to think about taking in coins and credits and things like that. So yeah, essentially the games just sort of adapted to whatever hardware they're on. Now I think this has got something called a uniBIOS in here, and you can actually switch it between arcade mode and home mode. But yeah, we'll get into that once we've actually got into this. So yeah, get into it we will. Let's get it out of the box. It's actually like getting an actual new console. It is a new console, to be completely fair. But yeah, we've got some nice looking composite video cables. What's this? Oh, we've got an RGB SCART cable. Lovely. I wasn't expecting that. We've got an S-video cable. And we've got a component cable. Jeez. Okay, so we've got some Neo Geo stickers because, you know, don't want to break any trademarks here. And I assume this big box guy is the power supply. Now I had to order this with a European power connector. Yeah, because they didn't have any British ones, but it's just a regular IEC connector, so I've got lots of those knocking around. And yeah, this is a 12-volt power supply. Right, let's have a look at the console itself. Whew, this is huge. That's what she said. There we go, there's our console. And it does look a bit like how the AES looks. Quite interesting here. So on the front, we've got two 15-pin controller ports. So this will accept the original Neo Geo AES controllers, but there's also USB ports. And I think you can put a range of different console controllers, like Xbox controllers, into these USB ports, and it will work. We've got a headphone socket. We've got our power switch. And then on the top, there's our reset button. Obviously the cartridge slot. Can't wait to show you the cartridge. And then what have we got on the back here? So we've got our component video out. We've got our composite video out. We've got an S video. We've got an RGB output. And then we've got our 12-volt input. And yeah, there we go. And it takes a center positive 12-volt connection. It actually feels and looks like a proper console, really. It doesn't feel like it's some weird Chinese knockoff. They've done a really good job of it. If we've got a console, we need some games. And here is a game. Well, actually, it's 161 games. That's right, there's 161 Neo Geo games crammed onto this, well, actually quite chonky cartridge. And it's actually got this double edge connector on here, which I've never seen anything like it before. So yeah, these 161 games cost me about £68-ish for this cartridge. And yeah, it is the MVS cartridge, so it's suitable for this system. And so I think, don't know, I assume it goes in like this. That's what she said. Nice. So we've got our console, we've got our game, but we don't have a controller. Well, I do actually, but it's a bit of a weird one. Let me get it for you. I don't really know what this is. It's sort of a bit like a Mega Drive kind of layout, but it also has shoulder buttons, but it's also not because it's got a 15-pin connector. But yeah, this is the controller. Like I said, you can plug in original Neo Geo AES console controllers into this if you wanted to. But yeah, I just got this because it was cheap. I think it was only like 15 quid or something. But yeah, I think the original controllers are actually quite a lot of money now to buy. So I thought I'd start off with this and see how we get on. Because I do have some big plans for this cartridge, but we'll talk about those later on in the video. Right, well, we're all set up. I'm using a retro scaler, which I got from AliExpress, to output the video to my capture card. I think it's about £70-ish. Right, okay, let's turn this on. Hopefully it's all plugged in correctly. 1, 2, 3. Okay, video. Oh, there we go. So it's got the universal BIOS and it's currently set for Europe and to make it think like it's an arcade machine. And there we go. We've got our 161 games in one cartridge. Let's, oh yeah, controller's working absolutely fine. So we start at 1, we can just move to the right and you can see all the titles that are on there. Lots of King of Fighters by the looks of it. A lot of King of Fighters. Aero Fighters 2, yeah. Metal Slug, love Metal Slug. Samurai Shodown. So yeah, if you want to sort of see exactly what's on the cartridge, you can slow the video down a bit. I'm just having a quick look. Nice. There you go. So there's a lot of games there. I'm obviously not going to play all of them. Now I've got this wired up at the moment through the RGB SCART cable. I'll probably do a comparison of how it looks through the different options a bit further on in the video. I will say that because this is being filmed at 25 frames per second, the video output from the games console will be put back to 25 frames per second as well. So what you're seeing in the video isn't as smooth as it is in reality. It's just that I have to record at 25 frames per second. So yeah, if the games don't look as smooth as you're expecting, that's why. It's not the console or the hardware. It's just the limitations of my timeline. Timeline? Maybe timeline. Anyway, right, let's try a game out. Let's try Metal Slug. So we just press A. Nice. Excellent. There we go. Oh, I love Neo Geo games. They're just so cool. Oh, looks amazing. Right. Don't really know what the buttons are. I need to insert a coin. Oh, hang on. So, okay, so the left shoulder button was inserting a coin. So we just press 1. Right, so A isn't doing anything. B is jumping. C is throwing bombs, right? X is shooting. Y is jumping. And Z is throwing bombs. But A doesn't do anything. Okay, I don't think that feels right. I'm not very good at it, but it just looks and sounds amazing. Neo Geo games are so cool. Right, I'm not just going to spend all day playing the games. Let's just reset and go into a different game. Yeah, so there is some key combination, so you can go into a menu, but I don't know what it is. No, that's not it. Yeah, you like press and hold B, C and D maybe? Okay, I might have to look that up. But yeah, you can change the settings. Yeah, apparently you press A, B and C to get into the BIOS settings. And then you press B, C and D if you want to get into the game settings. Oh, and apparently the start and coin button. Ah, okay. The start and coin button brings up a menu where you can put in cheats and also reset. Let's just go into Metal Slug 3. And we press the coin and start button. Ha ha ha, there we go. So we've got a cheat database, debug dip settings and patch memory. What's the cheat database got? Oh look, there you go. So you can just turn on cheats should you wish to. Ah, okay, so is B the A button? C should exit. Okay, so I think Y is actually our A button. No, Y is B. So B is A, Y is B, and C is C. So if I... Interesting. I'm learning. Ah, there we go. Okay, that's interesting. Good. Right, so I pressed those 3 buttons. Y, B and C as it booted and we got into this memory card manager. So I wonder if once we're past that, I think I'm going to have to try and work out a little bit more how to get into the BIOS menu. But I don't think the buttons are mapped completely right on this controller. Let's just try another game. Let's try Aero Fighters 2. It just looks perfect. It looks so good. Maybe this is a good time to show you the comparison between how it looks on between the SCART, the component and the composite. So yeah, let's do that. Let's compare the difference between them all. So yes, the composite looks a bit composite-y and a bit rubbish. The component looks good, and I think the RGB SCART looks slightly better. Which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate your eagle eye. Actually, while you're letting me know what you think, why don't you hit the like button on this video? And if you're not already, please do subscribe to my channel. I want to get to 30,000 subscribers. I actually want to get to 100,000 subscribers and more. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Subscribing is completely free. And if you've liked the video, if you're on your phone, you should be able to hype the video, and that just pushes it out and lets people know that it's an all right video. Because I think it's an all right video. Do you? Let me know, hit the hype. I think what I want to do now is tear this apart and show you what's inside, because like I said at the start, it is fascinating. And I don't think you're going to quite believe what's under this shell. So let's take it apart. And to do that, we need to get out the grey mat. There we go. So we need to flip it over, and then we need to break off these warranty seals. That's me being a seal. No, yeah, they're never going back on. Never mind. Right, and then we need to gently remove these 4 feet. I'm going to use a spudger for it. And once the feet are off, that just reveals the 4 Phillips head screws that we've got to remove. So let's quickly shout out the channel members at time of editing, because we don't have much time. So first up, we've got the Kip fans, and then we've got the Kip early birds, who are Tim Salt, Sorcerer Stan, Mark C, Rob Lynn, Joseph Neal, and Paul Monaghan. And then I love these people so much, they are the Kip lovers, and they are Bella Webster, Stez Stixfix, Lawrence, Scott Kendall, Prost Retrofix, DD Media Production, Lee Benz, Alan David Hughes, James and Danny, and Alex Bennett. Then we've got the nuttiest people I know, and that is Becky Boobar, Alan Green, Danielle Adele, and Scottish Dad Plays Minecraft. Boom! Right at the top there, we have got our Kip mentor, RJ Prate. Thank you, RJ, for your top tier support, and big love to all my other channel members. Right, so we'll flip it over, and then we pull the top off. Steady. Actually, we do need to be steady with this, because our reset button is connected to the motherboard. So yeah, don't just yank it off. Just tug it gently. Stop it. I love this. This is why it is so interesting to me. So what we've got here is actually a motherboard from an actual arcade machine. So here's the jammer connector right there, and that would plug into our arcade machine. Actually, if you want to see me build an arcade machine, I'll put the playlist to the arcade machine build up in the corner. That was quite the epic journey that I've literally only just finished. And yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that in a mo actually. But yeah, so this is a board that's straight out of a Neo Geo arcade machine. So it's original SNK hardware. And instead of plugging into an arcade machine, it plugs into this board here, which basically converts it into all the good stuff that we need. It then converts it so it's got the controllers there, either via the 15-pin jacks or the USB. Also the headphone output as well. And then it pulls the video signals around here and takes it into this specific hardware here that changes the video signal into sort of what we output. Look, also comes with a little switch inside it where you can turn it between mono and stereo should you wish to. And yeah, it's got these little encoder boards here. I assume those are the guys that are doing the video conversion, perhaps? Yeah, maybe they're taking these sort of RGB signals from the jammer connector and then outputting them into, well, signals that all these different connectors can use. But it's absolutely fascinating because they're recycling old hardware. So instead of this being consigned to a skip because the arcade machine's gone, it's actually going into these consoles and being reused, which I think is absolutely incredible. And also it means that you're running your games on actual genuine SNK Neo Geo hardware. Now let me show you something actually while we're talking about that. I have actually got some Neo Geo hardware for an arcade machine. So this is a slight variation on this board because it's actually made up of 2 boards. We've got the sort of jammer portion here, and then it sort of has this other board here at a right angle to it that our cartridge plugs into. But it is essentially the same principle as this board, which is just amazing. So I have actually got this to go in my arcade machine because I really want to play the Neo Geo games on my arcade machine as they were intended. So that is the plan. So this will just plug into the jammer connector into my arcade machine. I can slot in the cartridge with all the games on and have those 161 games on the arcade machine. But I just love the idea of this console so much. It's just using parts that would probably otherwise just be discarded, and it turns it into a decent home console, which I think is great. We don't do enough of that. You know, I review sort of new versions of old hardware on this channel quite a bit, but to see some original hardware that was made in 1999 just being given a new lease of life inside this console is just cool, isn't it? That's really fascinating. And that they've made this board that just sort of adapts it into something new. Really smart. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to dismantle it. So I presume somewhere one of these chips is actually the universal BIOS. I don't know which area that will be. I don't know the hardware that well. Maybe it's that chip there, maybe? Okay, I'm going to put this back together now and then finish up the video. So you don't need to see me do those screws up again. So let's use the power of YouTube and get this reassembled. There we go, all back together, absolutely fine. Something we didn't try was using the USB controller ports. Now, I don't really have any compatible USB controllers. I'll put up on the screen the ones that it says that it's compatible with. I do have an Xbox One controller that I've got a USB lead for. That might work. We'll give it a go. Let's plug my Xbox One controller in onto the USB port. Yeah, I don't know if this will work. It might do. Let's see. Oh, well, it made a rumble. Yeah, it's not liking that. I didn't think it would. I really like this unit. I know it's stupid expensive, and then you've obviously got to pay for the game cartridges on top of it. You could actually buy legitimate MVS cartridges and just plop them in rather than use one of these multi-game ones if you wanted to. So if you had a collection of them already, that would work as well. So yeah, the console was, this one cost me over £300. It's £300-ish on the site at the moment. I'll put the ones that I find at the best price in the video description as well. It is quite a good bundle, really. You get this fantastic console that is reusing old parts from arcade machines and turning it into something for this era. I mean, it would be amazing if it had an HDMI output on it, so you didn't need to have some sort of converter or an old TV that accepts these kinds of signals. I mean, that's probably something that could be relatively easily done. There'd just be some expansion onto that board. And who knows, they might do that in the future. But I'm actually quite pleased with what I've got. As well as the console being good, it's great that you get all those additional cables to hook it up to whatever device you're using. So there we go. I think that's all I've got to say. Let me know what you think of this console in the comments. I imagine a lot of you will go, no, it's too expensive. Maybe it is. And if maybe you think I should buy like a brand new PlayStation 5 or similar from AliExpress, then let me know in the comments and maybe I will drop even more money on one of those and see what we get for our money. But for now, I'm happy with what I've got, and I'm looking forward to playing with it a bit more. So yeah, I don't think I've got anything else left to say, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but for now, it's game over.